Okay, so hopefully you haven't all died because it's like been a long day and you've had lots of PowerPoint presentations, you've had lunch. I need to see some smiley faces. Lets me know you're listening. Smile. That's good, that's good. When you're a therapist, you want to connect with your client. So you look at them in the eye and you know, hey, I'm going to have to sweep the room. So look at me when I look at you. Okay, let me know you're feeling me. Okay, that's good, that's good. I don't do that with all my clients. They might think I'm a bit weird, but I'm just doing that for this afternoon. Now, you were going to have the sexy Josh Rivers. I can call him sexy because he's not here. And he's Director of Communications, but unfortunately he's not well. Okay, so it's just me this afternoon for Naz. Now, I want you to hold in mind something, because I'm sure you've had lots of stats and lots of thoughts. Unfortunately, I wasn't here to hear the discussions this morning. But I want you to hold in mind these words, hidden, powerless, homeless, without identity, shamed, guilty, faithless, asylum-seeking, foreign, unwanted, beaten, bruised, dead. So Naz, sexual health for everyone. We exist for one reason and one reason only, that sexual health is for everyone. The hidden, the powerless, and the invisible. Nazir was a Pakistani Muslim married man with 2 children. He was also a closeted gay man who had AIDS. When his status became public, he was rejected by his mosque, ostracized by his community, and found no social support that understood that he had more than one identity. The late HIV and gay rights activist Shivanda Khan set up Naz in his memory. Shivanda understood that support for people like Nazir would need to be culturally specific, driven from within the community, using an approach that integrated knowledge of healthcare, race, culture, religion, sexuality. Unfortunately, the issues that Nazir experiences remain alive 27 years later. And so at Naz, we offer the most relevant range of sexual health services and programs specifically for men and women from Black, Asian, and minority ethnic communities. And we get challenged about this a lot, that why are our services culturally specific? Because your strapline says sexual health for everyone. And the reasons are, as we see from Nazir's story, he needed specific cultural help around not being able to hide within his community. Okay, so our vision is sexual health for everyone. Our objectives are to enable Black and minority ethnic communities to openly address the challenges of sexual health by fostering self-reliance in addressing the challenges of sexual health and HIV. We want to provide policymakers, funders with an evidence-based approach on how to engage with and inform local sexual health provision for BME communities. So that's our job. Our job is to keep people informed while we're here today and talking to you yourselves. Hands up if you're if you're a professional from the NHS here today. Right up, nice and confident. Okay, all righty. Now, the thing I've always wanted to ask, is there a doctor in the house? 1 or 2, lovely. Thank you for making a little girl's dream come true. Okay, do we have, so I was completely indulge me this afternoon. I was looking for any therapists in the house? Okay, lovely. Any psychoanalysts in the house? Oh, I can't do that joke. I was going to do, hi, on the couch. Okay. So I'm speaking to the right people then. I'm speaking to the people who work in the NHS. I'm speaking to the people who are therapists. I'm speaking to the people who are support workers, nurses, sexual health advisors, people who need to understand what it is to be Black and minority ethnic, to be Black, African, Asian, from the Latin communities, different. but in their communities they're not different. They're accepted, they're identified, and they're not invisible. So we provide initiatives around sexual health. Our 4 core things are sexual health promotion and well-being, HIV client support services, clinical services, research and policy, things like that. We work, the organisation is delivered through 3 key work streams. Our HIV care and support services are for people living with HIV and AIDS, and right, and within that, what we're looking at is people who need supporting around different things. So they get the usual one-to-one support, benefit and legal advice, signposting, but also we try and make it a bit more creative for people living with HIV from the black minority ethnic communities. You know, not trying to deal with stereotypes here, but we came up with, rather than coming to a support group where you talk and you feel that you can talk about how bad it is, how awful it is, how much support you need, or you can come along and sing. So we have a choir. We have a choir called the Joyful Noise Choir who get to perform for kings, queens, usual state kind of banquets. It's lovely. They come along every Wednesday. You don't have to sing. You just have to be able to open your mouth and share. And that's what they do. They come along and sing. So that's one of our support services around that. Also, we have sexual health promotion, where we're included targeted support for BME LGBTQI communities, included faith communities, and those at risk of acquiring HIV, STI, and experiencing poor health outcomes. So, faith communities, why? Why? Hands up, why? Why faith communities? Why are they mixed in there? Okay?
There's a lot of stigma around issues in faith communities where people may not feel it's permissive to articulate how they feel or who they are.
Articulate who they feel and who they are. Okay, any other reasons? Thank you. Any other faith? Hands up. Can you speak nice and loud? Right. If you're going to target people, BME, she said, BME people go to church a lot. So if you're going to target to those communities, go into the churches. Well, we also go into the churches, and we go into the mosques, and we go into the synagogues, and we go everywhere. We show ministers how to put condoms onto, latex, rubberized dildo things. Within that, dildo things. Some people get awkward. We're not going to be awkward about dildo things here today, are we? No, good. Because it's not common, is it? When we talk about sexual health and the person sat in front of you starts saying, I find it a bit difficult with my partner. So we've got to be able to be comfortable and confident to help them feel comfortable and confident to speak about things like that. So off track, back to faith communities. So we go out there and we talk to them and we meet with people and we educate people, imams, priests, vicars around their communities who are hiding, who are in shame, who want to come out, who want to speak out and want to keep their faith too, but find it difficult. So we do that piece of work. We get out there and we meet them. Clinical services, HIV and STI testing, screening, as well as counselling services. And we'll come on to that in a bit. And we do our research, evaluation, and policy development. I had an argument with the chief executive this morning. I said, let's give them stats. She said, no, tell them a story. So I said, but we need to give them the facts. They need to know what's going on. Tell them a story. So I'm going to tell, she won. She pays my wages. I'm going to tell you a story. So the NAS board, I'm going to get a story. So the NAS board staff, volunteers, are recruited from the communities that we seek to influence. Okay, support is available in multiple languages. Today, NAS offers the most relevant range of sexual health services and programs, specifically from people from BME communities. Okay, so what languages do we speak? We speak Spanish for our grupos amigos. This is a culturally specific group for Spanish speakers. We have our Portuguese, as in Portuguese language speaking, MSM. MSM, we all familiar with MSM in the room? We're nodding. I need hands up. Take me to church, I need a hands up. Okay, we're all familiar with MSM. For those who aren't, MSM, men who have sex with men. Some of the words and language we use sometimes are quite specific to our sector, and we forget those outside don't get it. And so we need to help them get it. So we need to communicate in a way that they are, is relevant and culturally specific for them. Shamal Love, that's our South Asian MSM support group. Selfie. When we look at selfie, it's about getting people to identify with self, feel proud of self, to shake off that stigma, get rid of that shame, get rid of that guilt. Black African Caribbean MSM. Mixed heritage. There's a big fat typo. Can you see it? EAN. Any clues? Right. So mixed heritage group. We've got online support for Black and BME men. And we have our KISS group. Our KISS is like keeping it simple. Our KISS group is aimed at women. At women who often as well become very hidden, very left behind, very excluded from work around sexual health and BME communities, and particularly within the LGBTQI community. We have our 1,000 women. Again, it's about empowering 1,000 women to be out there, to be open, produce books, to produce leaflets, to produce artwork that's about them and says what it is to be a woman who identifies as LGBTQI. And our transgender support group, which is coming online in this year. Okay, and that's our poster for Shamal Love. It's about Asian men getting together, being in love, and being unashamed. So, activity time. Right, don't judge me till you walk a mile in my shoes or live a day in my life. Okay, so turn to the person next to you. Gonna come shift you around in your chairs. Turn to the person next to you. It's got 2s, 3s, that's fine, okay. And I want you to think about, okay, that's it, get chatting, Some of you, this might be easier a task than others. Some of you may just have to share about your experiences, but you've made the decision today to tell your family or close friends that you're LGBTQI. And you are Pakistani. You're a black woman or a black man. You're Indian. You're from a very macho culture like Brazil. Oh, have I hit?
Yeah, it's
Brazilian.
It's homophobic now in Brazil.
Yeah, okay.
Go to Brazil now, I'd rather be dead.
Can't go to Brazil now, would rather be dead. So hold that in mind, right? I want you to look in your 3s, your 2s are your 3s, and one of you has to be the person coming out. One of you might be the supportive friend, and one of you's the grieving or possibly grieving family member. Okay? Now I want you to role play it. And I'm going to come round. I'm challenging you. I want you to role play it. I want you to be active. Keep in mind, you're Pakistani, you're Asian. You just got a minute, so you've only got a minute. Who put your hands up if you chose to come out? If you chose to be the one who's going to come out to family and friends. Okay. Right, very quickly, what did that feel like? As you took on that role, just a quick show of hands, what did that feel like? Sorry, say again? Uncertain. Sorry. You hadn't even started. Okay, sorry. The time's against me. I had got one word, uncertain. Anybody else? Awkward? Anxious? Great. If you were the parent or the friend that they were coming out to, what did that feel like? Keeping in mind you were thinking of being Pakistani, Indian, Brazilian. How can I help? Okay. Shocked. Okay. Well, wanted to start crying, what have I done wrong? Okay. Now, you might think, well, that's still not unique to just black and minority ethnic people who are LGBTQI. But when you're faced with perhaps being ostracized from your family, when you're faced with the fact that by coming out, then possibly your cousin, your brother, your uncle will come after you, beat you, strangle you, throw you out. They will kill, beat, or strangle the cousin that smuggled you out of the country from India to get you here to safety. And that's what I sit with in the counselling room. That young person, that man, that woman who has been smuggled out. Their cousin, their uncle is dead. They are here, frightened, worried. Even when they come to our doors, they come up in the lift. If they see somebody from their community, they panic. They say, will that get back? Will they find out about me? Will they know? And that's what we have to manage every day through our service. And without our service, they don't access the NHS. They access it for just about, if they're positive, they're HIV positive, they might come and get the drugs and go away. But they don't talk about anything else. There is a real danger in diversity and inclusion narratives to merge the varied experience of LGBTQI into one. Being black and gay is not the same as being Latin and lesbian or South Asian and trans or white. We always have to be questioning all the time. What's that experience? So they don't become invisible, don't become just merged into one. Now, in the counselling, we take inquiries, we offer 12 sessions, we take inquiries, from services that cover including fear, sexual issues, around relationships, living with HIV, confidence, self-esteem. 35% are in exploitative relationships. Black gay men are often fetishized by their white male counterparts. They're asked to be the top, they're asked to be the tough one, they're asked to be the strong one. 24% are HIV positive, 22% engage in chemsex. Sexuality, more than half of the NAS clients, 68% identified as gay males and 80% identify as being straight. This is just a case study of some of the work that we do here at NAS. Broken marriage, diagnosis of HIV in 2014. Other history of violent behaviour and a boyfriend in prison. EA tells me how unhappy he is and feeling nothing was going well in his life. And many times he mentioned that life was not worth living. In the past 6 months, EA has had ups and downs, and on one occasion, I asked him not to leave NAS, as he's authorised me to contact his GP, who advised me to call an ambulance. He was suicidal. In a safe space, EA could express and explore his anger, sadness, loneliness, homosexuality, HIV, and the fact that his family doesn't accept that he's gay. We focused on building his self-esteem, his self-acceptance, considering the available choices in comparison to the choices he was making. In the past couple of months, he got in touch, EA was not in touch with was touched by his drugs and changed his mobile phone so the dealers could not reach him. Started English classes, getting extra help from his key worker in order to keep away from drugs. Throughout the work, I've allowed lots of space for him to explore painful memories and feelings. Although EA says he's not taking drugs, he still exceeds the amount of medication that he gets from his GP, basically. And we had to make the GP aware of that so that sort of thing could be reduced. Now, his story is not uncommon. His story is what we see every day at NAS. And we want to and need to change that. We want you to partner with us. We want you to understand. We want you to pick up the phone, ring us. I've got this person in front of me. I don't know what to do. Just ask that question. What do I say? A young woman sat with me and explains that her brother had been killed, been murdered, had been stabbed. When they sat down in front of that white therapist in the NHS, she said, "Aren't you used to that?" Without inquiring about that person's loss, their feeling, and how they are. So it's just thinking those things that you hold, the things that you think you understand, the things that you think you know, keep asking the question. Keep asking that question. Okay.